Well, it is February 2nd, 2023. It's been a while since I've recorded myself saying anything or about anybody or anything. As you see, my beard has grown. I'm going to continue growing it. Yeah, I'm in a beautiful spot. The world is changing rapidly around us. And I just want everybody, I hope the best for the future, but it looks pretty bleak at the moment, considering that it seems like World War III is around a corner, or that we're in it. We're in the beginning of it. Um, so I'm just enjoying the beautiful nature that I'm in, and chilling out and waiting to see what happens. Our governments are playing with fire, it seems, and I hope for the best. But in saying that, hoping for the best doesn't mean that you don't prepare for the worst. So there's an old saying that says, if you want peace, prepare for war. And that's exactly what I think everybody needs to start doing mentally and emotionally, is start getting ready for an inevitable conflict between the West and the East. It's about to happen. It's bound to happen. And I don't want it to, but I think it's already begun. And I think that it's foolish for people to think that it's not happening when we're sending hundreds of billions of dollars over to Ukraine, and sent fighters over there, we've sent things there that, Putin definitely said that if the West does, that we'll suffer consequences like the world has never seen. And yet here we are, Biden sending tanks, Abram tanks over there, and we're Canadians are sending tanks and howitzers and tubes and rockets and all sorts of shit, and troops to train their troops. So we have guys on the ground over there, and it's like a fucking whiteout here in Canada. Nobody knows about any of it. And I talk about it very rarely. I talk about what's actually happening, and people think that I'm a conspiracy theorist. They think that I'm crazy, that I need to chill out and calm down. And that's the sickness that I see in Canadian culture. It's this fucking delusionment that we're all suffering with, it seems like. It seems like the average Canadian is so out to lunch and so fucking focused on themselves that they're just it's really sad, because I love this country. I used to believe that Canada was the only place where people could come to escape conflict, to escape, that kind of shit, because we had our shit together. We were moral and ethical and working towards the benefit of our natives, and like trying to, accomplish good things, instead of like the egotistical narcissism that seems to exist with this liberalization of people's consciousness. And it's not to say that, liberty is the same as liberalism, because it's not. It doesn't seem to be that way. It's a fucking, in my opinion, I think it's a fucking lie. I think that these liberal people are so fucking hedonistically narcissistic that they don't even understand that what they're doing doesn't serve anybody but themselves in the end. And I think that the people that do understand are psychopaths. And I think there's a lot of sociopathic psychopaths that are absolute fucking hedonistic narcissists that are in government in Canada right now. And it seems to be that's what's being pumped in our culture, is this sexualization of immorality, where, like, do your thing behind closed doors. That's cool, man. I don't need to know all your fucking sexual fantasies. I don't need to know that shit. I don't need to know that you're gay. I don't need to know that shit. Nobody needs to know that shit. And kids don't need to be taught all that stuff when they're children. They need to be learning their alphabets. They need to be learning how to exist in this world, not to fucking spread lotion on their buttholes and try to be fucking sexually castrated as men so that they can be transitioned into women when they're like 5, 6 years old. That's fucked up. And this is what this culture is trying to promote. And it's not to say that I don't do whatever you want, but children are a precious resource. And if we're going to fucking destroy people when they're children, that's fucked up. That's like eugenics and all sorts of Nazi shit. People just like, oh, whatever, like, I don't agree with this whole thing. And it's really, really concerning to me. And I live in a part of Canada, I live in British Columbia, where I'm legitimately kind of like afraid to talk about any of this stuff to anybody here, because it will cause a problem. It will cause a fucking problem because there's so many people here in Canada that are just so far left that anything that you speak on, any conservative idea, you're a fucking right-wing nut bar. And it's like, well, what the fuck? And all this idea that, you know, I have to use pronouns and shit like this. So there's a guy, I forget his name. He's like, well, if you're gonna put that case on, then my pronouns are handsome and intelligent. And if you don't call me by that, it's against the law. And if you don't use those pronouns, handsome and intelligent, strikingly good looking, then yeah, you're going to jail. I'm going to charge you with an offense. That's ridiculous. But that's what these far left, liberal, LGBTQ, whatever, are promoting, are projecting this shit onto everybody. And nobody's saying anything about it. And the people that are getting fucking canceled. And that nobody's like, oh, wait a minute, this is fucked. Because what about democracy? What about freedom of speech? What about my opinion matters just as much as yours do? Like, the whole golden rule is out the window. It seems like people can just these certain people can just do whatever the fuck they want without any recourse, without any consequence. And if you say anything about that in any fucking way that shines negativity onto their fucking bullshit, you're instantly judged as a fucking right-wing, anti-gay, anti-everything, crazy person. But nobody says that's fascist. That these people would judge everyone else to, if you don't believe what I say, you're fucking wrong and you hold unacceptable views. That's fascism. That's Marxism. That's basically like Leninism at its fucking core. And here in Canada, we're just gonna like blindly accept this thing. And if you talk like I'm talking about it, because I've done a little tiny bit of research outside of the mainstream media and outside of that shit for years, been trying to figure out what the fuck is actually going on. And while everybody else around me just seems to do their life, and if it's not in their physical reality, then it doesn't exist to them. That's Canada. That's fuck. What the fuck is going on? That's what I think. And it's like, you know, I don't really, there's no real platform. I'm just talking to myself right now. I might post this on YouTube, but like, it's concerning. It's concerning, man. And it's, you know, I want people to have liberty and freedom. I do. I believe in that. I believe that our forefathers went to war to fight the Nazis so that we could have the freedom to argue about all this stuff, to debate each other and have consciousness, not to fucking force other people into things that they don't agree with. That's not right. That's fascist. And nobody's calling it for what it is. And I think that's really weird. And like YouTube, if I post this on YouTube, I don't know if YouTube will, I don't really know their guidelines. I'm not allowed to say certain words because they offend certain people. But like, I'm not, my intention isn't to offend anybody. Disclaimer, I'm not here to offend anybody. I'm just legitimately concerned and wondering like what in the heck is going on here. I'll try to use proper language so I don't get totally demonetized or whatever the word is. I don't even know. I never post on YouTube. But I think what's happening is concerning everyone. And you know, I grew up in this system. I'm a foster kid. I don't have any family, you know, in Canada. You know, I'm pretty well off. Like I do all right. Like, you know, the last 10 years of my life have been really emotionally hard, and I've been going through my own things. And as a man, I don't see much help for guys like me. I'm supposed to just fucking suck it up and do literally, because if I say anything about anything, like I said earlier, I'm kind of afraid to say anything because I've been persecuted and condemned and ridiculously persecuted for years because I have these conservative views. And I'm a liberal person. I do whatever you want as long as it's not going to affect me in my life. And if you are going to affect me in my life, that's where I have a problem. And that's my problem. That's why I bring it up. It's not because I don't want people to have sexual freedom and love whoever they fucking want to love. That's up to them. That's do whatever you want. Do no harm to me, though. Don't force me and force my children and force ideals and ideology onto me that I don't agree with. I'm not forcing my ideology onto you. I'm not, or onto any of those people. I'm not. But I feel attacked. I personally feel attacked by the whole LGBTQ community. I honestly do. Not for my own personal traumas I've experienced. No, It's because they go on and say all this stuff, act like tyrants, and say that if I say anything about it, I'm criminally wrong to do so. And people accept that as fucking, that's why I speak up about it. Do whatever you want. Love whoever you want. That's a freedom that we all should have. And I agree with that 100%. And I think that, anybody that doesn't agree with that is really needs some help. And so I don't understand this idea of equality when really there's no equality between men and women. There isn't. We should treat each other equitably. What's the word? Equitability? Equitable? We should treat each other with equity, rather. I don't know the verb. But that's what I think people are trying to say with equality. But like facing facts, men and women are different. And this whole idea that there's no such thing as gender, there's no such thing as sex, that's obviously wrong. Biologically wrong. How can people go and say this stuff and then act as though it's like fact? And then if you disagree with it scientifically, you're argued with and you're condemned and you're persecuted, you get canceled for saying truthful things. Men and women are biologically different. We have different thoughts, we have different wants, we have different needs, we have different desires. All that shit's different. Yet we could still treat each other with equitability, meaning that I treat you with the same respect that I treat myself with. And so it goes back to morality and ethics. And these are just been flushed out the window because homosexuals, like I said, I'm not against the shit. I'm not against people individually for being homosexual. I'm not. But the idea that I have to, I can't be a heterosexual because if I am, I'm all these toxic traits. I'm the patriarchy and all this bullshit. It's like, well, nobody knows what misandry is. It's just misogynistic. Just misogyny. No misandry. Just misogyny. That's fucked up. That's like, whoa, wait a minute. Whoa, what? And then now I'm looking online. I'm looking at all the reality that's going on. These women want like a high valued man, but really what that means is that they want men to pay for everything and like be the masculine patriarch, but don't want to be the matriarch to that man's patriarchy. And that's like, what do you mean? So I'm a king, so I deserve to be treated as such. If my woman wants to be treated like a queen, she's gonna have to bring something to the table. Help me fucking carry the rocks if she wants to be my queen. I'm not gonna just fucking let her sit around and fucking do nothing. That's not fair. That's not equality. But that's what women want. They want this, like, they want everything, but they don't want to they don't want to have equality. They just want everything for them. That's what I've seen. And I'm not saying that's every woman. Obviously, not every woman's going to be like that, just like not every man's a misogynistic chauvinist. But there are those who are that. And I'm not one of those, but because I'm a conservative, I've definitely been fucking painted like that. Painted as though I'm some fucking bad person because I fucking have the views I do. I'm not. I'll give the shirt off my back to you, gay or not. I don't care. If it doesn't matter, because you're a human being, and I'm a human being, and I deserve love, and I deserve to be treated with respect, and I deserve all that stuff. So I give it as best as I can. And I make mistakes. I'm a fucking human being full of fucking false bullshit and stuff that I still need to work through as a 44-year-old dude. Now that I'm more mature and I see my mistakes very clearly. I'm single. I choose to be single because I'm broken inside. I've been so damaged emotionally because I put a lot of things into people that I didn't get back out and deceived myself to believe it was me. And now I know it's not me. And I know the culture is really, really backwards. And I'm not backwards. I'm like, okay, this is fucked up. And why am I being assaulted? This is fucking crazy. And then if I say anything about it, it's me who's the problem. That's where it's been. So I'm trying to figure that one out, how to actually reconcile and forgive myself. I think that's basically where we all need to get to right now is like, we need to like really, really go deep inside one another and ourselves to figure out what the fuck the truth is, because you can't go around fucking saying you love somebody and then talk bad behind their back and then think that because you're so righteous you could do that and not understand that you're being a hypocrite. Like, I don't get it. So I actually do get it. I just don't understand why people want to play pretend and act as though they're super fucking top shelf when they're the bottom of the barrel. You know, like I'm nothing special. I'm not. I come from nothing. I have no family. I'm an orphan, and you know, that's been my humility my whole life. And every time I've tried to get out of that station that where I've been, everybody else just shoves me back into the hole where I'm trying to get out of, and it pisses me off and makes me upset. And then I get judged for being angry. I get persecuted for this is BC. I get persecuted for being angry because people are allowed to fucking do harm to other people as long as it's their feelings that matter the most. What about my feelings? Oh, because I'm a conservative person, my feelings don't matter as much as the weak, pathetic person that all their feelings matter so much they wear them on their sleeve and all that stuff. Because I'm a masculine person, I'm not treated with the same respect, which is equality, as everyone else. And nobody wants to talk about that. There's so many men, as me as an example, who literally don't get to see their children because of this misandristic feminism that goes around calling itself feminism when it's actually hatred to men and hatred of boys and all that stuff. And it's promoted and it's accepted by the community at large because, in my opinion, I think it's the homosexual agenda to literally break the family up. This whole globalization is to like take family and separate each other so that the government's our mom and dad. That's what they want to do. And because I grew up in the system, I see it very clearly. And I've tried to talk about it to the average person who grew up with family members and, in that two family system, which is normal. And I've been like, yo, this is what's going on. And those people are like, oh, you're crazy. You're a conspiracy theorist. And now 20 years later, I'm fucking right. Like I knew it was right then. And all these people want to just have literally judged me to the point where I couldn't get work. I couldn't get a job. I couldn't do anything in the town I was living in because so many people wanted to fucking throw shade on me because I was speaking truth that nobody wanted to listen to. And I think that's the problem. It's immoral. And people have loose ethics because they understand that they can get away with whatever they want as long as they say it's about their feelings. And that's fucked up. And that's what I'm concerned about. So, blah, blah, blah. 20 minutes in, I'm going to end it. But I hope everybody in the future coming to, we're 1 month into the fucking new year. And I hope that we don't go to war. And I hope Canada doesn't engage itself into this stupidity and chooses to fucking smarten up. Justin Trudeau is a traitor. He's a criminal. And everybody who has supported him in that government should be in jail. They have all committed crimes. And I think it's about time that Canada fucking straightens up, puts its pants on right, and fucking starts fucking being the Canada that I thought it was. Something that I would be proud to fucking fight for, to defend, to risk my life, and to even sacrifice my life to defend this country for the people in it. But at the stations where it's at now, I know. I'm thinking that if I were to ever do that, I would be just turned against, and people would not respect the fucking sacrifices that I've given because of how we treat our veterans, because of the things that I see in this fucking culture right now. It's disgusting to me, and I'm fucking tired of it. It's got to stop, and I hope people wake the fuck up.